Dear students, welcome to the knowledge series. Today the topic is on basics on fuzzy logic, and we will talk about this fuzzy logic as a whole in this segment in a crisp way. Fuzzy logic as the term is it gives an idea about something that is not clear or distinct, or it is some precise or a blurred form of a statement. That means it lacks in clarity in analyzing any particular inputs, but based on the fuzzy we can able to predict the output even if the input is not clear. Say for example you are taking a snapshot and your hand moves or your hand shakes while holding the camera. What happens? You will see that the image that appears in the camera, that is blurred in nature. So but based on that blur you can at least able to predict. So that is what the idea behind the fuzzy is, that even if there is a blurriness or the image is not clear or not distinct, one can able to predict the output. The definition, it says that a form of a knowledge representation suitable for notions that cannot be defined precisely. This is the one point is that, but which depend upon their context. That means even if it is not precise based on the impreciseness, but based on the context, the output can able to predict that this is what exactly it means. Now this was originated by Dr. Latif Asghar-Zadeh while he was doing his doctoral degree from the Columbia University, and after completing his Columbia University he worked on his fuzzy logic, and later on that idea of the Dr. Latif Asghar-Zadeh's idea was taken over by many peoples, which you can see the Professor Toshio Terrano in 1972. He developed working in the fuzzy systems, that is the fuzzy system in a control systems, and F.B. Smith and company try to work on the fuzzy logic for developing a product that can be marketed in the area of fuzzy expert systems, and that's how he marketed that particular product. Now when we try to see that Latif Asghar-Zadeh, he is Dr. Latif Asghar-Zadeh. He is basically born in Azerbaijan, which is in the Soviet Union, in the year 1921, and after completing his school in Tehran, and he completed his BS degree, that is engineering degree, in the University of Tehran, and thereby he migrated for 2 years for completing his MS degree in Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and in the year 1949 he registered for the PhD, and in the year 1965 he published his thesis in the area of fuzzy logic, and that is how the fuzzy logic becomes one of the soft computing tools in the field of control systems, in the field of engineering. In every areas you can see that the fuzzy logic is being used so that it can able to give a precise output based on the vagueness input. And he is no more. He was the director of a US Berkeley initiatives on soft computing. Now what exactly, this was the history what I have explained on the fuzzy logic. Now what the fuzzy logic is basically, if you want to understand, so let us see the fuzzy logic based on this figure. Now here it says that precision is not an ultimate truth. That means when we talk about a precision is not an ultimate truth, that means that to get an input or to do a control systems, you no need to have a exact control over the you can have an exact control over the output, for which the input is not a major criterion. Now let's see this particular area about the precision is not an ultimate truth with respect to these slides, uncertainty. Now here you try to see the figure. Now in this figure you will see that it is showing that a figure of an Abraham Lincoln, but you cannot able to exactly predict it out. So when we talk about the word uncertainty, in this particular situations, we say that something like an approximation or a stochastic uncertainty, if you talk about the probability of hitting a target is 0.8. That means you can guess that, okay, it may be 80% guessing that it may be Abraham Lincoln. That's how. So there is in the uncertainty, there is a class, another class is a lexical uncertainty. That means you can say that, okay, this is close to Abraham Lincoln. Instead of using a numerical terms in terms of probability values from 0 to 1, so you use some terms. Here I am given another example, tall by hot engine stable market. We can say that it is close to Abraham Lincoln. So that's how we can able to talk about uncertainty. So we will probably have more rain this year. So this is the terms related to the probability. Now there is another things which I am showing here, that is a probability and uncertainty. A person is suffering from a hepatitis shows in 60% of all cases a strong fever, and a 45% of all cases yellowish colored skin, and 30% of cases suffer from a nausea. So this is again when we talk about a case here, probability is the but there is uncertainty of that variations. So that's how based on when you talk about a 60% of cases strong fever, 45% of a case is yellowish stored skin, colored skin. So this term, it indicates that probability is one end, but there is a range of variations is there. So there is an uncertainty whether that 60% case is really is coming over here or not, or maybe among the 45 case certain things may be falling here. So that's how the data may be varying. So the data which you are giving, the data set may not be a precise one. So under this particular, the probability term is being coming. Now here one thing you have to understand, that when we talk about the probability, it is an estimations of how likely an event to occur or come to pass. But when we talk about uncertainty, it's a lack of certainty. So the probability case it may occur, but in the uncertainty there is a lack of certainty. And here when we have used this stochastic, it's a random probability distributions, but it is not a perfect scenario. So that's the thing is what we see across. Now based on this approach, let us see this the next slide with respect to the probability approach and a fuzzy logic approach. When we talk about imperfections, imperfections means it is classified as uncertainty and a vagueness. When we use a vagueness, that comes under the class of a fuzzy. But when you talk about uncertainty, that is not a certain, but you use the certainty, you use the particular estimations. So in the when we talk about a probability, it's estimations, and in that estimations there are chances that it may rise or it may not rise, but there are sure that it is a class in which it will fall. So that's why the probability theory, possibility theory, Dempster Schaeffer theories comes under the class of a uncertainty. So what's the difference between fuzzy and the probability? When we talk about a fuzzy, there is a term is called, we call as a degree of membership. Degree of membership means it lies between 0 to 1. That we'll see. Degree of membership means it lies between 0 to 1. Whereas here, we even if it is a 0 to 1, we say that it is a 90% of a chance that that particular events may take place. So if we say that the car color is gray, so that is we can say that 99% surety is that the car color is say. But here we use that here we use this particular crisp as a input for some logical operations. Another is that fuzzy logic take this degree of mathematical basis as a model of a vagueness. So whatever degree of membership we use the term, that is used as a model for this vagueness. Whereas in the case of a probability, that particular model is a mathematical model is of an ignorance or an uncertainty. Yes. So uncertainty model we are using here in the probability, vagueness model we are using in the case of a fuzzy. So that is what means here. Now let's see this figure. Here a figure is shown, rose is shown, red in color. Here term a rose is either red or not red. So if you say if you show to someone, then they will say that this is red, this is yellow, this is white. So that is a traditional approach or a logical approach. So if this is not red, this is not red, or this is not yellow, this is not white, so this is red. So this is yes, 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 and if it is a reverse color, then you say no, no, no. That is a traditional logic. But on the other hand, if you go to the another figure, now you see the mixed color is there. Now here you cannot tell that which color exactly. So in this particular case, so here you have to apply the fuzzy. Here you cannot apply the probability, because if you apply the probability only with respect to color, then in that case you can say that okay, it is a 10% red color, it is a 60% yellow. That's how maybe around 30% white. That's how you can say. But there is no certainty of that one. So here you have to apply the fuzzy logic to identify the range of the color, on based on that what is the answer for these questions. Now here fuzzy logic is further shown in terms of another definitions. You can see this one. Of course, I have shown this one earlier also. Here is a term. Fuzzy logic is a multi-value logic in which the truth value variables between 0 to 1, both inclusives. It is handle the concept of a partial truth. That means in the fuzzy logic, a natural language or an ordinary language or any language that can arise a unpremeditated fashions, or a conventional language, I can say it together, a conventional language that can give a human intellectual to understand that okay, that is the answer related to the object for which it was arised. So a natural language is typically used for the communications, and that natural language can distinguish what exactly the fuzziness it indicates. So that natural language can be can take a decisions or are having a truth value of the variable 0 to 1. That means whatever we are using a natural language to communicate a particular object, and if that language is having a values, and that between a 0 to 1, we can take that one. So just like I have shown the rose color, the rose, if it is correct, then it is 1. If it is not, it is 0. But if a mixed color is there, then you can say that the color lies between 0 to 1. So that is the truth value of that particular mixed color rose. So that is what termed as a partial truth of the concept. Now here you try to see the another example. Linguistic variable, say temperature of a room. one can say the temperature of a room is 32 degree 0.75 Celsius, but instead of using that particular terms, we can use the terms like a freezing, we can use a cool, warm, hot, such type of a terms we can able to use. When we use a different color, a cloud color, we can say that it is partially cloudy, sunny, overcast, such type of a terms we can able to use. Now if somebody is riding a vehicle, now in that, under that particular situations, there is no need to use the terms that going at a 42.67 kilometers per hour or a 70.3 meter per hour. Rather, it can be used as a terms that slow or a fast. So that is sufficient. So that is how the linguistic variable is used. Now here you just try to see that how this particular shot is been done. So if a arrow hits the external point, arrow hit the white point, arrow hit the central point, so it has been put as good shot, close shot, accurate shot, true shot. These are nothing but the linguistic terms to solve the problems. So that is what we can try to see in the case of a fuzzy logic for solving the problem. Now, how this fuzzy logic is being distinguished from the term crisp. There is a crisp set, or we can say a Boolean set, is that in the crisp set we are having two distinct values, either true or a false, or we can say if a true is 0 and 1, then false is 0. So if you see this color, the central point, it's black. So if somebody is standing inside this color, so we can say that yeah, it is in the black zone, so it is put as 1. So once it is come out of that black zone, it is termed as 0. So that's how we can say 1 or outside is 0. Inside is 1, outside is 0. So that is how the crisp means. So crisp, you have to understand that it is basically a Boolean logic or a binary digit 0 or a 1, that means. Now when you talk about a fuzzy, you can see that there is a shaded region is there. So here in this shaded region the fuzzy comes. So you can see that in the particular rectangular boundary, this rectangular boundary is nothing but X, which is nothing but universe of discourse. So in this universe of a discourse, A is termed as a fuzzy set, and this A is also this particular dark color is called as a crisp set in this particular shade boundary. Or in another word, we say that Crispus is a subset of the universe of discourse, and fuzzy is a subset of the universe of discourse. So both are a subset of this universe of discourse. So this is the top. So once the time now let us take a front view. When you try to see the front view, it is looking like a circle, but it is a cylinder. So actually this is a cylinder. So but from the front view you can try to see that it looks like a rectangle, and this zone, it is looking like a shade which is a triangular attached to this particular rectangle. So if you try to recall the definitions, we say that a distinct value between 0 and 1. So this is 0 and 1. So if you try to see this one, in this particular figure, there is a x coordinate, there is a y coordinate. X coordinate is a set of elements or a crisp elements, and y is nothing but a degree of membership, that is mu of x. That means at this point, if you try to see on the set here, from initially from this to this it was flat, so it was 0. At this particular point it becomes 1 for a, and this was 1 up to here, again it has fallen to 0. So that's how we can say that crisp is having a two values, 0 or 1. That is what 0, 1, 0, like that. But when you talk about a fuzzy is nothing but this
good morning all.
Gray area. So where you can try to see that in this gray area, this area is known as a fuzziness. This is known as fuzziness. whereas this is known as a crisp.
Mr.
So
Kailash, I
under
can
this
hear your audio.
fuzzy
Please start with the
subset
session, sir.
area, we can try to see that the
good morning
value
all.
from 0
In
to,
this session,
and this is
I'll
1. Between 0 to 1, there is a
brief
several
introduction
values
to
or a
data
infinite
analytics
values.
and
Similarly, from
importance
1
of
to 0, there
analytics.
is a several infinite value. This
Hope
is how
you
we
are
can
all
represent the crisp and the fuzzy.
faculties for
Now, there is another
working with
way
some
we
expertise in data analytics
talk about
related areas to not
crisp and
go
fuzzy
much deep
in
into
terms of a
the theoretical
Boolean
part of
and a fuzzy
analytics.
logic.
My main focus will be
That
on the
means
data
if you
analytics.
talk about a Boolean
There are
logic, it is a
certain
crisp. It has a two range,
issues to be
from here
addressed
to here 0,
in
from here
making
to
data
here 1.
analytics
So
to the
that's why
industry.
any value between these
The
is
way my
always
slide
0.
goes is like
Any value
first
between these
few
is
introduction
always
on
1.
few
But in the
introduction
case of a
data
multi-valued
analytics
logic,
and certain
from
survey and
Boolean if you go
predictions
to the
in data
multi-valued logic,
analytics,
this is nothing but a
certain
fuzzy logic.
use
In the
cases
fuzzy logic, you are having a
by
range 0 to 1.
applicability of
It is
data
just like
analytics.
0
That
to
is
1.
how the
But
industry
you
is
will not
moving
see the
towards.
partition. And it has a infinite partitions. So that
Okay,
is
how
what
the
I
industry is
to
moving
say.
towards
That here you can see that 0,
this data analytics
0.2,
forward.
0.4,
So if you
like
have
this.
any
Even you
doubts,
can try to see that
in the chat. I'll
in
try to answer your
between 0 to
queries in
0.2
each and every
there may
slide.
be several
Or
values.
if not, at the end of
In
the slide,
between
we can answer your
0.8
queries
to
so that
1
can be
there are
addressed
several
and
values.
discussed.
Like that we can able to put across. Now here if you try to
You
see
know, heard of
the
this
another
term,
way, Boolean
all.
logic is
So
Nick
everywhere we can
honest, you
see
can say
all data analytic
yes
presentation, it is
or
there.
no. If yes is there,
Although
that is
data is the
true
new
or
oil,
1.
but
If it
the
is
current
no,
trend
false or
recently
0.
in this month's time,
In a
because
fuzzy
the
logic, the
situation
same
of
question if you put it,
the
you
oil
can say it is extremely
industry,
honest or very
there is no
honest,
takers.
sometime
So as
honest,
long as
extremely
there
dishonest.
is no
So
proper
it has
takers
having a
for the
value
oil,
0,
you
0.35,
know the business
0.85 and
financial
it is
value of
1.
the oil.
So that means here it is only 2
Not like
values. Here you
data is
are
there,
having 4 values.
but
So that is what we
take the
talk
data,
in
how do
terms
you
of a
process the
Boolean
data?
and a fuzzy
How do
logic.
you
Now
the data?
let's
How
see
far it
this
is
particular
stored,
figures
how far it
with
is
respect to
managed,
crisp
how far it is
set
reported,
versus fuzzy set.
analyzed, and how it is
Now
being
what is crisp set?
reused.
A crisp set
This
is
brings
defined
in
in
the
such a way
effectiveness
that
of data
a
analytics.
partition of a individuals
Bulk volume of data,
in
maybe
some
any type
given
of
universe of a
or
discourse into two
any type
groups,
of data,
that is a member or a non-members. So that is how when you have a partition of a group into two group, member of and non-member, which is a part of the universe of discourse, that is known as crisp. Whereas in the fuzzy, it is defined mathematically by assigning a each possible values. It is having each possible values.
So with such a huge
and
volume
in
and
the
variety
universe of
data,
a discourse,
not
and
much
that
useful
represents the grade of
unless
a
industries
membership.
take the
So
data,
that is known as a fuzzy
process the
set.
data,
Now here you
and
see the
take
same
it
thing is that two
to
values, and
applicable
here you
use
try to see
cases.
this external value. It is having a range of values that represents the grade
So
of the
data
membership
science,
values. So this is known as a fuzzy set and a crisp
data
set.
science, that is the method
Now
or technique
we go to next
process your data in simple
point is
terms.
nothing but
So that
the
involves
fuzzy logic architecture.
multiple
In the fuzzy logic
process,
architectures,
like
you can try
data
to see
mining,
that
visualization approach,
it
database
has
management
been
systems,
putting
machine
into a
learning,
4 block
artificial
structures.
intelligence.
The
So all
very
of
first
them
thing
are
is
part
that
of
you give
data
any
science.
input as a
So it is the
classical input,
process of
or a classical is
inspecting,
nothing but a
cleaning,
crisp input.
cleansing,
Now
modeling the data.
let me put
Data
this
science
also
has
when
got
we talk
multiple
about a classical
tasks. So we'll see what that is.
crisp set is also known as a classical
The
set,
life cycle
and fuzzy set
involved
is that.
in
Now
data
classical
science.
set and fuzzy set,
First,
what is the
process,
difference is that
you need to
when you talk
capture the
about a
data.
classical sets, a
Capture
class of
data,
a object of a
it can be
sharp
from
boundary.
multiple sources.
This is a sharp
Recent
boundary is
trend
known
is
as a
all
classical
towards
set.
IoT.
Or
So
that
capturing
is
data from
another way we
sensors,
can terms the crisp
from
set.
any
In the fuzzy
automobile
set,
devices,
class of object do not have a sharp
or any other sources,
boundaries.
like even from
In
a
this one,
software
there is a
environment or from a
blurriness will be
hardware
there.
environment.
That is why here you can
Multiple
see a
sources.
blurriness is there.
That
Here it is a
means
sharp.
capturing the data.
And a classical set,
Processing the data,
basically it is defined
like
as
you
a
already
crisp
taken the data
boundary.
and how you
That
are
is,
going to
there is a
process it
clarity
for
about
your environment.
the
That is, you are
edges
going to extract
of the boundaries.
data that
So
is
there
from
is the edges
your
is very
business
clear.
use
So
case
that
scenarios.
particular
It's just analyzing data. Here
class
comes in the
is a
main
class of
part
a
of
classical
data
set.
analytics.
Whereas in this case, the
Then
fuzzy
comes the
set is
how you are
always
going
have a
to
ambiguous
communicate
boundaries.
your
So there is
analyzed
a
information.
uncertainty
That
about
is,
the edges of the
how you are going to
or the
visualize
boundary edges So that is the
going to visualize your
in the case
data.
of a fuzzy set theory.
And going
Another
to
is that
present your data
basically
to
Crispus
your
set
end
is
users or to
classical
your
set is
management or
theory is basically
to
used for
the
the
other departments or your
digital system
peers
designs,
who are going to
whereas
access your
this
data.
is used for the
Then
fuzzy controllers.
the fact
Wherever
that has
you are
been
using
now
in the
getting
fuzzy
calculated as
controllers,
maintaining
you
the
will be
data.
applying
So how do
this
you
fuzzy
maintain
set
the
theory.
raw data? How do you
Now
maintain
here, when we try to see this
process
one,
the data?
it is having
That
a crisp
is now
input, and here
gaining
the
more
crisp
importance.
output is what
So I
going
am
to
in
produce.
coming slides,
Now
I also
here
will
the input
predict
is to the
some
fuzzy
survey
file.
results.
Now what is fuzzy file is that here
Gives you
in this
what
case
the
fussification is
inputs,
taking place.
maintaining
Now
the
in the
data,
fussification
analyzing the data, processing the
what
data,
exactly happen is that
communication
it
and
converts the
capturing the
classical
data.
set or a crisp set into fuzzy input set. At this point you are getting a fuzzy input set.
So data
So the
analytics,
crisp number into fuzzy set
that is
is being carried
split
by
into
the
four major categories.
fussifications. Now
Descriptive
let's take an
analytics
example. You are giving a
states
sensor input.
what has
Sensor input
happened in
of
an
say
environment.
room temperature.
With the
So
data,
that particular
you analyze
sensor
and
input
you
is
come out
nothing
with the
but an
result.
analog in nature,
So
and that is
what has
passed
actually
through when
happened.
the fussifier. Then
Diagnostics,
fussifier is going
why
to produce
certain things has
a
happened.
values between 0 to 1.
What
So
will
that is
happen in the
what
future.
I mean to say
Prescriptive
about
analysis,
this
what
fussification.
remedial
The on the other side, it is the opposite of the fussification is nothing but defussifications, where you try to get a defussified output, and that defussified output is converted to the output. That is what
Can you hear me?
output.
My
So
voice
when you
breaking up?
convert this defussification to the output, it is going to be a crisp output. So the defussification case, you are having a several membership, and that membership
So
degree of
data
membership you are
analytics
converting to the crisp
from a
value.
business perspective,
Now
it
you
is
can
seen
see
in
the
different
inference engine.
categories.
The inference engine
With business
is
intelligence
another terms
and
which is
decision,
trying to see the degree of
management or the business
match
analyst
between
said
the
only from
fuzzy set
from
and
the
the
business
rules.
intelligence point of view.
And what is a rule?
From the technical
Rule is
side, there's
nothing
code,
but
there's other things
when
like
you
data
talk about a
dynamics,
rule,
which
it
involves
is a if and then.
scenario that
If
I
and then
explained.
conditions. That means
Thus,
in the
sits on top of
falsification, in the
the
rule base, we are
conventional
having a
data
several
mining
membership,
approach.
which is coming from
Conventional
the
data mining
falsifier,
approach with
and
certain
that
enhancements
membership
was
is
formed.
being put
Thus,
together to see the what
currently
we are
data science
looking
technique.
for the objective based on the not rule base. When we do it and try to give to the inference engine, then
various roles
based on
that I
that,
explained
the
in this
inference engine is
previous
going to
slide,
produce a
like different
defussification
types of
output. Now here,
data analytics
here
and
in the case
gathering
of
the data,
rule-based
collection of
systems
data,
or a knowledge-based systems,
management, maintenance
the
of
if and
data,
then conditions when you
visualizing,
offer
analyzing.
exactly,
For all
it is
this, there are
taking a
various
decision-making
roles
systems.
in
So
this
the
data science
in the fuzzy
environment.
theory, this
Each and
based
every
on the
role
designs
requires
or based on
different
the
skill sets.
applications, the rule-based
First and
selections
foremost skill
is being
role is
considered.
what we call
If
data
it is a
scientist.
smaller
They are
systems, then you no need to go
players
for several
in this environment.
rules. But when you go for a complex or a precise values, then in that case your rules has to increase. It is just like when you have a more rules, you will be able to control in a, you get a perfect
Their
results.
roles
When you have a less
and
rules,
responsibilities is
so what
that
will
first
happen?
they organize the information
Output will be
and
not
go
be
processing
as
that
accurate.
information,
Take an
translate the
example, a
information into
school
solutions,
where
and
you are
communicate the
finding that
findings.
there are plenty rules are there.
So the skills need
Then
for this
the students will be
scientist,
following
starts
that
with
instruction
programming skills.
in that way as per
Currently,
the rules, and there
SAS,
that's
and
how the
Python are
discipline will be
the most
maintained. But if there is
wanted
no
skill
control,
set for
then what will
data
happen?
scientists.
There
Apart
will
from
be
that,
a
you should have statistical
lack
and
of
mathematical
discipline.
skills,
So that is how here the
data
rule-based
visualization,
system is applied for the
with certain data
falsification
analytics
membership
frameworks.
or the
But these days,
falsified
even
conditions.
these skills, certain
Now, when
part
you
of
talk
these
about
skills are being outsourced
the
to
inference
the
engine,
cloud
it
environment.
tries to
Like
match
most of them are
the
offered as
degree of membership
data analytics
based on the
as a
input
service.
and the rules. So, based on the input and the rules, it will try to look for the matching, and thereby,
Certain other
based on
roles
the
are apart
outputs
from-
need, it will try
from
to
data scientists,
produce the
other
defalsifications
roles
output. And
like
after
machine learning
after applying
scientists.
the inference engine, it will try to
Their role is
produce the combine
Audio
effects.
is slow.
Combine effects means
Okay.
that knowledge base
Their
and the input,
role is
and
like
the output is exactly what you are
research on the new
desired
methods
or what you
of
are
data
expected
analysis and
based on the
algorithms.
classical
So now,
input,
if
nothing
we
but
take,
a,
instead of
like
creating
a,
our algorithms, machine learning as a
linguistic
service
terms,
in cloud is
whatever
coming up.
you give
So
as
with
an input, like
certain algorithms that
less
is
hot,
offered as a cloud service through API,
moderate hot,
plugging
average
your
hot,
environment
that one
directly
matching
to the
with
cloud
the
platform
rule.
services.
These two, even it you
Data
match it,
analyst
the
is what
output exactly.
they're
If you are putting, if you are
going to
saying moderate, what is that
see in the
moderate
coming
in terms of a
sessions.
value you will be seeing in the
Analyze
output
the
side.
data, take a larger
So
set
that
of
is
data
what the
and
characteristics of
analyze
the
and
fuzzy logic
come
means.
out
I
with their
repeat again,
findings.
here the
And then communicate
linguistic
in
terms
a
you use it,
visualized
here
in a
the rules of the
pictorial
linguistic terms
presentation.
is made, and based on that
Data consultant.
a membership is created,
They are the,
and that two things is being
these are the roles
combined together
act
in the
in
inference engine
senior
to
management
see that
and the
it is going to
data
produce a
analysis or data
declassified
science
output
group.
and
The data
back
science
to the
group consists
crisp
of these two
output.
roles,
That crisp
and
output
they
is based on the
they
central value of the given inputs or
yeah,
the desired
the
inputs.
PPT notes would be shared.
Now, what are the
It's
characteristics of a fuzzy rule? If you look across the characteristic of a fuzzy rule, I have put the flexible and easy to implement. That means this is basically if you are applying for a machine learning technique, this is fuzzy logic can apply in a flexible way or easy way. And moreover, fuzzy logic concept, it is just like a human way of or a traditional approach. That's why it's a mimic of a it mimics the logic of a human thoughts or ideas. Now this logic, fuzzy logic is having a two values, and that range between these two values there are many possible ranges, that is 0 to 1 having a multiple or infinite values, highly suitable for the uncertain or approximate reasoning. That is what it means. The fuzzy logic is suitable for various uncertainty and various probability conditions. Fuzzy logic it will view as an inference for finding the elastic or can say the finding the elastic constraints or the range constraints. That is what, or the where you cannot able to get a precise data. There this fuzzy logic inference can apply, and a suitable results you can able to view. The fuzzy logic basically built for a nonlinear functions where your complexity is more. So for all the nonlinear function can be suitably handled by the fuzzy logic. And fuzzy logic is built with the complete guidance of the experts, so that you should know how the and what type of a rules is being applied. Now, what are the applications? If you try to see across the applications, fuzzy logic is being applied in many wider applications, not only in the industrial applications, in the industrial applications, even your home product is the consumer products are coming. So even in the scientific field, everywhere it is being applied. Now, like ABS brake, that is the anti-lock brake systems in the vehicles. In the, like for example, nowadays all the vehicle it is coming with the anti-lock. So that's how we can see it is used for the bullet trains. It is used in the cameras. It is used for the robotics, automatic transmissions in the vehicles, climatic conditions building, even in the wind energy systems, wireless sensor network. Not only this one, you can use it is applied for the cameras. It is used for the lifts, elevators. It is used for the fitness management systems to identify how the fitness is being taking place. It can be used for the computer systems in the palm-top computer systems. You can able to use. You can use for the microwave oven, kitchen products are if it is available there. If you can use for the field systems. Many areas of fuzzy logic systems applications comes across. Now, what are the advantages? The advantages
survey,
of fuzzy logic is that
they say that
the fuzzy logic
28%
systems
demand
is easy to
increase will be
implement
there
and
by
its structure is
year-end.
easily understandable.
To be frank,
And
all the
it
surveys
is used for
given
the
out
commercials and
before
practical
the
purpose.
outbreak of this
And
COVID.
it
We
is
don't know,
basically
like,
used for the control
how far
machines
this
as well
prediction
as
survey will
the
go.
consumer
So,
products, even the
very good.
scientific domains
And,
also.
Glasgow, they say
And
that
it deals with the
data
uncertainty
scientist is the number
of
one
the
best
engineering
job
in the
in
control
US
systems we
for
can able to handle,
3 consecutive
and it is
years.
robust in nature,
And
and
IBM,
we can
they
apply
predicted that
for
there
the
will be an increase
various sensor applications
increase
and
of data
sensor
scientists by this year,
feedback
and 7 lakh openings in
input
this
when
year
we
alone.
can able to get it
And
and try to
you can
collect
see
it
the average
based on this one
salary of
for the
data
control
scientists.
applications.
And
It can be
current, as on date, there are around
it can be used for
4,700
giving
open
several
positions listed on
alertness
Glasgow
based on the
specifically for
fuzzy
this data scientist.
set values, where instead of giving a repeated fake
Swapna, being a
alertness,
leading
fuzzy will
business
be able to get a
analysis
precise
firm,
alert.
in their
And
life cycle,
moreover, it is
they have
it is
listed
inexpensive
various
as when you
analytics
see this
in
particular product
various
in nature,
phases.
and
You
it can
see
able to
in the
effectively use for the
stable
complex
curve,
issues.
you can see
On the
text
other hand, the
analysis,
disadvantage is
social
that
analytics,
fuzzy basically
in DBMS analytics,
disadvantage is
predictive
that if you
analytics,
go for a fuzzy
and
rules, the
the
complexity
other
will
thing that is
make
going to
it
enter
more
as
cumbersome.
platform as a
And
service.
moreover, the fuzzy
BI
it requires a tuning of a membership values.
BI
And
platform
fuzzy logic control may not scale well for a large and complex system. That is because of the rules deals with the
BI
imprecisions and
platform
vagueness,
as a
but
service is
not
again
uncertainty. That is certain
highly
uncertainty
utilized
means whether it will
platform
occur or
as a
not
service.
occur. So that
And,
is a
if you
boundary
look
beyond
into
the
Google
value of
or any
universe
other
of discourse.
public cloud
But
services,
anything within the
this is the one.
discourse, it can able to visualize it. Another is the fuzzy logic
the
is not
outbreak of
always
COVID,
accurate
the
if you
conference
go
will
for a
now be
complex
recorded.
application. Fuzzy system don't have a
The outbreak of
capability of a
COVID,
machine
what may be
learning,
the opportunities
because
of data
in the
analytics
machine
in
learning it is
As per your
it's
view,
a
will it
different thing.
increase
The
or
machine
decrease?
itself will learn based on the
See,
condition
today,
is that for
for
input
the
and output,
COVID-19, there
and
are multiple
the third is that
applications.
after the testing,
Even few
training and the
college
testing phase.
training colleges
So
and
under the
other,
machine learning, this
small,
is less suitable. And
group of people
setting an
as
exact fuzzy
freelancers,
rule
they
is a
develop
challenging
lot of
task.
packaging,
In the case,
a lot of
it's a difficult
freelancers who
task
are developing
with
some
respect to the
applications and
membership
giving it
functions.
even at the district
Fuzzy
level, they are handing it over to the
time
district
logic is
administration.
confused
So
in
all
the
these
probability
apps you see
theories,
at the back
as I
end,
have told to you
it's
with
all
respect to the
data analytics.
uncertainty.
Mobile
Validation
technology
and
data
verification of
analytics.
fuzzy
This
knowledge-based
forms
systems
core
need
of this COVID-19
extensive testings with the hardware.
predictive
So that's
or
the
predictive applications.
area with
So,
respect to the
From my point of view, there will
systems
not be any
designs.
this thing,
So these are nothing but
implication for
advantage
the
and
role,
disadvantage.
but
Still then, fuzzy is being
the number of opportunities
used
and
in many
the
applications.
pay
Nowadays, the
packages may
students'
differ,
projects
but sure,
in the
there will
college
be
level, school level, they are using fuzzy.
for this particular role.
Finally, summarize that when we talk
And
about
you can see
fuzzy,
data lakes
it talks
is
with
there in
respect
the
to the
curve.
vagueness and
And most
unclear
of this
data,
curve
and to
contains
overcome this unclear
all
data, we
terms
use
related to
the
data
alternate
analytics.
ways,
So in the
linguistic
coming,
terms, and are a
days
subjective
of
attribute
lab,
to solve
you'll
this problem.
study what is
And
each
this
and
was
every
developed by Latif Asghar-Zadeh
each
in
and
the year
every analytics in
1965.
detail.
And
Starts with,
it is a flexible to
predictive
implement in a
analytics,
various
augmented
controls
analytics.
applications.
The other
And when
speaker
we talk
will be
about
handling the
the
last
fuzzy
day's
logic,
session
it
with
has 4 parts.
details of all
One
this
is
analytics.
fuzzifications, another is
So what does it mean
defuzzifications,
is the
and
point here
in
is
the
like
midterms is
maybe
rule-based
in
and
the
inference
coming
systems.
years, 4-5
Now,
years down the
basically,
line, all
fuzzy logic
analytics will be there in this code. Which means
is a
that all
collection
them
of
will be there in
sets
the
between 0 and
IT
1,
industry or the
and
IT
where
market.
based on 0 and 1, it is having a another term is a membership values.
So
And
finance,
based on the membership
certain
values,
prediction survey results. So
the mathematical
these days
model
using
of the
lot of
vagueness is being
IoT,
designed. And also, when you talk about a
So
Crispus
Twitter has,
case, Crispus is nothing but a
predicted that
collections of a
by
two values, zeros
end
and
of
1.
this year,
And based on the Crispus,
every
we can
person
design the
generate
mathematical
1.2
model
megabyte
of the uncertainty.
information on
And
data per
it
second.
is being used for the
Maybe in the
various
form of
industrial applications
mobile,
as well
mobile
as
or
as well
any
as
other
base for the consumer applications also.
or from your
And it has advantage with respect to wider application because of its robustness and easy way of handling and no precise data requirement. But the disadvantage is that as the complexity increases, design of the membership and implementations of the hardware becomes a constraint. However, the fuzzy logic helps in the control machines and in the consumer product. So these are the part of the fuzzy logic. And he is Dr. Latif Asghar Sadeh. And with this, I conclude here. Thank you.
Few other upcoming technologies, trending